Houck grew up learning baseball from his mom in Collinsville, Illinois, just 20 minutes east of St. Louis. Growing up, what was Collinsville like? What was childhood like? When did baseball become part of it? Tell me a little about your childhood.
My mom would always say that baseball started from like the very first day, like T-ball. Like I was a kid running off the field, like upset with like my teammates because they were like playing in the dirt and like eating the grass.
He said, "Mom, they're playing in the dirt. Why aren't they trying to get the ball?" And he would be the type of kid, he would run all over the field. He always wanted everybody to take it as seriously as he did.
That's where I did fall in love with the game. I mean, it's always been just something that I gravitated to. I was a kid from first grade until high school saying that, oh, I'm gonna play professional baseball one day. And everyone was always like, yeah, sure, everyone says that.
It was a statement that he made all the time. From a very early age, he knew it was what he wanted to do.
Everyone has like that dream, like it's 1 in a million, blah, blah, blah. But like I knew I could do it. I was like, there's nothing stopping me other than me, and that's what I believed from day one until now. I know I can do it, and why not do it?
As Tanner found his place on the mound, his mom discovered her talents with the Scorebook.
Fell in love with pitching whenever I was about 9. Something about being in control on the mound, I instantly was like, I want to do this for a long time.
Every time he'd pitch, I'd keep score of the game. I would show him, here's what you did, here's how many balls you threw, here's how many strikes you threw, and we'd talk about it. Just kind of became a way to connect and be with him every step of the way.
As you get older, you start going to tournaments, you remember those family times at all in the car?
I do. Me and my mom drove my grandma's 2004 green Honda Pilot across this country.
I was a single mom. So there was limits as to what I could do. Of course, we drove to all the tournaments, just he and I.
From like Southern Illinois down to Georgia, Florida. I mean, I can't even remember all the places that we went.
Every weekend it was a different state, a different place to play.
During the summertime, we were gone every weekend. I mean, it was like nonstop. We were in the car always with some sort of sporting event.
He loved those road trips, and so did I. It was his and I's thing, yeah, going every weekend to those.
When Tanner entered Collinsville High School, he was trying to get his legs under him, and those legs were growing fast.
I went from 5'8" to 6'2" in one summer. It was a great summer of nothing but growing pains.
He put on a pair of jeans, and they were high waters.
I slipped on my jeans from the year before, and I mean, I had like 4 inches riding up there, and I was like, I cannot wear these to school today.
We could not keep him in clothes because he just was growing like a weed.
All of a sudden, your stride is different. You run, like, do you remember
I
kind of
felt
relearning
like
things?
a deer on ice, like Bambi, and whenever he's like slipping and sliding over the ice, that's the way I felt like for a long time. Like I'd be running on the baseball field, and I was like, I don't know what to do with like my arms, my legs. Like I would trip over my feet constantly. Like it was relearning a lot of things for sure.
He grew and changed, and so did his family, as Tanner and his sister welcomed a new sibling.
So I sat Tanner and Shelby down and I said, hey, I would like to get my foster care license. I would like to be a foster parent. What do you guys think about that? And, they were all on board. They called me one day in May. They said, we have a little girl, can you take her? Got home and Rihanna showed up. So that afternoon, Tanner had a baseball game, and I come walking up, pushing a stroller, and he leaned out of the dugout and kind of gave me a real inquisitive look and said, who's that? I said, this is your new sister. He just fell in love with her.
What was that like? What did she mean to your mom, to your family, to you?
Rihanna coming into our lives, up until that point, I'll say I was definitely naive about how truly blessed we were as me and my sister to have the family that we did.
When Rihanna came to live with us and Tanner heard her backstory, it made him more appreciative, and I think it also made him more empathetic.
It just, breaks my heart that unfortunately so many kids have to deal with circumstances that are not the best environment for them to grow up and just have, a loving and just a home or a roof over their head, or know that they get to go home and have food.
I think it shaped him into the man he is.
Houck was drafted by the Blue Jays in the 14th round in 2014, but he opted instead to attend the University of Missouri, 2 hours from home. Why Missouri? Why college baseball? Why is that something you wanted to do?
When I was drafted out of high school, I was 17, and honestly, I just felt like I wasn't ready.
He said, you know, Mom, I think I need to go to Mizzou. And I said, okay, then that's what we'll do. Nobody can take an education away from you.
I mean, it was a hard pill to swallow because that was my dream, sitting me, like looking me in the face, like, you know, professional baseball, like here it is, like, you know, you can start the journey now, and I just wasn't ready.
Going to Mizzou helped him just as a person mature more.
I needed to go to college, grow up a little bit on and off the baseball field. It was the best choice for me. Incredibly thankful for the University of Missouri and everything that they did for me on the baseball side, as well as the growing up side.
3 years later, Houck was ready. This time drafted 24th overall by the Red Sox in the 2017 draft.
With the 24th selection of the 2017 MLB Draft.
Do you remember that night? Who were you with? Who'd you share it with?
So I was back in Collinsville. I had all my friends and family around me. We just kind of sat there that night and waited for the call.
A few minutes before his name was called, his agent called him over and, you know, let him know that Boston was going to select him.
And the Sox took me, they called me. I had a conversation with them before, and I told them, I was like, I plan on being the best player to come out of this draft class, and I'll hold myself to, you know, my words on that.
The Boston Red Sox select Tanner Houck.
It about brings tears to my eyes because it was so amazing. And he came over to me and he just put his arms around me and hugged me and said, I'm going to Boston. And we both stood there hugging each other and crying. So then everybody kind of started from the time he was 5 to the day he got drafted, his dreams came true.
The road started out bumpy. In 2018 with Salem, Houck came out of the gate 2-7 with an ERA over 6.
In Salem, my first year, I'm not gonna lie, it was a tough one. I struggled that year. I think I had like a 6 ERA in the first half.
You want to talk about ripping a mother's heart out.
And I remember I actually called my mom and I was like, Mom, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was like, I feel lost. I was like, can I do this?
Your child is struggling and sad and doesn't feel like he's good enough. And as a parent, you never want your child to feel that way.
Up until that point, like, I'd never really like doubted myself. Like, it was just like, you can do it. Like, but I struggled.
He said, I don't know if I can do this. I'm not good enough to do this.
I was like, can I do this? And she was like, yeah, you can. And I was like, you know what, yeah.
And I said, then it will be fine. It's going to be fine.
It was the best thing for me. Like, honestly, getting kicked in the teeth and just continuing to get kicked while you're down, like, you kind of learn who you are as an individual. If you're willing to like get back up and fight, or if you're just gonna like stay down and take it. And I would like to say that year after the first half, I like finally like stood up and like said enough is enough, and like I finally turned it around, had a better second half. I think I had like a 3 in like the second half of the year.
He made it through, and look where he is now.